Hey, welcome back to another high performance leadership mind tool. And today it is directly focused on signal and noise. Now, if you have not done so already, this makes much more sense when you invest in the High Performance Leadership Journal. If you have not done so already, there's a link below where you can learn more about all of the 38 plus mind tools that are found inside of the HPL Journal. Today's focus is just going to be on this one, but also on here on YouTube or even on the website, hpljournal.com, you can find a bunch of these mind tools that we go through to help you navigate each one of the mind tools and get some instruction behind it as you deploy it into your organization. Okay. Now, what makes signal and noise a mind tool? What makes it so important? The reality is, if there was one skill set that I think you should possess that would trump every other skill set, it would be the ability to predict. If you could hold the ability to predictability. If you could predict what's going to happen before it happens, think about the power you will hold. Carnegie, Win Friends and Influence People, he talks directly to the fact that if you were just to be right 55% of the time, just 55% of the time, a little bit over half, you'd be a millionaire. Now, when we consider that over 50% of our population here in America lives paycheck to paycheck or is poor, that shows you our inability in our nature as human beings to predict what's about to happen before it happens. And when that boils down, we call it here in the C-suite or in upper management or as a management consultant, we call it decision making. Now, here's the reality. Here's the state of the culture. When it comes to you and I, we're not held to the fire enough regarding our ability to predict what's about to happen. Okay? Our decision making. And the reason why isn't your fault or mine. It's the fact that to get results or to see the results behind a decision we implement could take anywhere between 3 and 36 months, right? So we're almost forced to look in the past, because hindsight is 20/20. We're almost forced to look in the past after we've either made a right decision or a wrong one as a predeterminant of whether it is we were actually aligning properly. And that's the goal of this mind tool. This mind tool is going to help you and your team become so much more intentional and so much more aware about what's actually a signal, meaning a needle mover or an indicator that you should be aligning your behaviors, your processes, your people, your product, or your profitability with, versus noise. And of the two, there's far more noise than there is signal. You know, some of you may know this, some of you don't, but I played quarterback all the way through college at a high level. And so if you're listening to this and you attended UCF, shout out, go Knights. And if you went to Grand Valley State University, go Lakers. But the point that I'm making is that as a quarterback, we have a choice. We have two options. We can run the ball or we can throw the ball. Okay. And the risk associated with throwing a football, is far outweighs that of running a ball. Okay. And the reason why is because of the exchange. All right. And if we choose to run the ball in a football game, there is very low exchange. It's going from my hands as the quarterback to one of my teammates' hands. I'm literally putting the ball in their hands. Versus if we're throwing a football and I actually have to throw the ball through the air. And the reason why is because when I choose to throw the ball through the air, although there is great gain, there's potential for great gain, there's also potential for massive loss. And that's because a lot of different things can happen when I choose to throw the ball versus just handing it off. When I choose to hand it off, the most that could happen is maybe I give it to my teammate and then they fumble the ball. That's the worst that could happen. Well, and that's not a good thing, but there's only one thing that can happen. They fumble. That's it. But if we choose to throw the football, a lot of different things can happen. It can get intercepted. The ball can get dropped, or it can just be an incomplete pass, right? And a wasted down, essentially, right? Whereas if we run the ball, it's very low risk to waste a down, because chances are on a 52 and a half wide foot field, or yard field, there's chances are I'll be able to move the football forward at least a yard, right? So it won't be a waste, so to speak. And the reason that I'm using that example is because that's exactly how we should be approaching business as business leaders, owners, founders, C-suite, upper management, whatever the case may be for you particularly, okay? Understanding signal and noise is critical for our growth and for our advancement and gaining buy-in, because the reality is, the reality is you only have so many quality decisions you can make in a day. All right. That's first. You only have so many quality decisions you can make in a day. And if you have a predictability or a decision-making ability that's quite low, then naturally you've cut your chances for success down possibly to 1/3 of the chances of getting this right. Now, if we increase the fact that of these two, signal and noise, similar to me throwing a football, there's far more chances for noise, just like there's far more chances of something bad going on if I throw a football, right? There's far more noise out there that has nothing to do with you, nothing to do with your industry, your sector, what it is. It's just noise. Or the methodologies that someone else is implementing doesn't necessarily mean it can be implemented in yours, right? So getting keen, and in most cases, this takes hindsight. This takes us looking back in most cases, all right? That's what I think humility causes us to do, is just look back, right? And then make adjustments along the way, okay? And so that's essentially what's going on here, all right? What I'm challenging you to do is get good about making a hypothesis. Get good about making a prediction, a hypothesis, assuming that it will go right, and then working incrementally to get the results behind that, and then looking back on it, say 3, 6, 9, 12 months later, and making an assessment on how you actually did, right? And this could be something as simple as your sales pipeline. Let's say that you are targeting technology because you've seen an uptick in their ability to break through the market, and you don't see any signs of it slowing down. You want to be a part of that because whatever it is you offer aligns directly with it. Right? I'm just throwing an example out there. In regard to your ability to gain profitability from that, you're going to have to align yourself with something or someone, right? And so one thing that we might say that you could align yourself with is a network. Okay, there may be some form of a professional development association that you could align with, or maybe there's a technology network that you could align with that's local inside of your city or wherever your region is, right? So this is a signal, because these are individuals who have already shown buy-in behind the industry, one, and two, potentially what it is that you're offering. And let's say that another one would be a distributor, okay? So let's say you have an app or something of the sort, and you're looking for a distributor because you know that this is going to be someone who will potentially push leads towards you, right? And if you're developing an app, then this could be something as simple as the Apple Store, or even Google's platform, right? So finding or it could be something completely separate, right? But finding a distributor is definitely signal, right? Now, which distributor you go about finding is very well up to you, right? I'm just throwing out examples. But going to events might be noise. It might be noise for you. It might be noise because depending on who else is at that event, or depending on what degree of presentation you provide at that event, it may or may not be enough, right? Events might not be something that you need to lean in on. Social media might be noise for you as well, right? You know the answer to this, right? Okay. Cold calling might be noise for you, okay? Right? So how you go about leaning in, what it is you direct your team to do is going to be an indicator of your ability to predict what's successful and what's not. All of these things work, but not all of them will work for you, is my point. All of them work, but not all of them will work for you. It's not the same thing. But our ability to be clear on, and so what's the difference then? It will have a lot to do with your people and your processes, right? If your people don't do well at events, then it's not going to work. If they haven't developed the competency or the capability to handle, then it's not going to work for you. If you don't have a social media managing team, it's not going to work well for you. It's not that social media doesn't work. It's that you have not created an environment, a platform for that to work. You don't have the resources or the systems in place for that to work, right? And maybe you need a website, maybe you don't. Maybe a website is noise for you. Maybe, right? And maybe it doesn't need to be comprehensive. Maybe all you need is a Google business page, right? And that's your website, because people aren't going to your website. They're going to Google to find you. And based off of the testimonials that they see there on that website, right? That is the biggest determining factor behind what they do. And because of their buy-in to Google, you don't need to really do much else. Maybe all you need to do is focus on getting testimonials. Maybe that's the signal for you penetrating a new market, right? And so you can see how this plays. Now, we only leaned into profitability, sales, and marketing, right? But this conversation goes across your entire organization. I challenge you to take this, print off a sheet, and go to each department head, each stakeholder, and ask them these questions. Hey, when it comes to us moving the needle, when it comes to truth versus myth, right? When it comes to unpacking misconceptions or misunderstandings, what's the signal and what's the noise? Let's get clear on this, and let's see if what you think actually aligns with what I think, or if what you think aligns with what some of our senior associates think. Some people who've had some tenure here and kind of know how things go. Let's see how that aligns to someone who's been in the organization all of 12 months or 18 months and really just learned how things flow around here, right? So I challenge you, please take full advantage of this. This is a very simple. We love simplicity, as you probably know by now if this is your first one. But I really encourage you to lean into this. Use it, at least to start, as an exercise, a brainstorming exercise. You can use it as soon as you come into a meeting, a department meeting or something along the sort, right? It'll be great for those types of things. But you need data, because you need to see who's bought in behind your ideas and how do they view your ideas. Do they view it as if they view it as noise, what are they going to do? Are they going to do much or not much at all, right? The buy-in, it's important for you to understand that. So it not only helps you to see who's bought in to your ideas and your leadership, your vision, but it's also good to gain insight and see what other people know that maybe they weren't willing to speak up about before because they hadn't had the opportunity or the floor, right? Powerful tool. Love to hear from you. Go ahead and let us know in the comments below if you felt that this was advantageous. Let us know if there's any way we can add to it. So there you have it. Signal versus noise. Your ability to predict is going to be your success or your failure. If we can just get 55% right, we put ourselves on track to grow $1 million, $100 million business, which is our goal for every client, prospective client, you included, that whether you're watching our content or whether we are actually in an engagement agreement, right? It's scaling companies from 10 million to $100 million that we are really passionate about. That is our mission. And we know that signal and noise has a lot to do with your ability to get that done. So thanks so much for tuning in. My name is Mark. If you haven't already, again, make sure you purchase your copy. You can click the link below, subscribe, like the video. Let us know what you think. We'll be looking forward to hearing from you soon. Fix your crown and rule the day.